Skywatch AI Insurance is on demand, and anytime you need it, check out the link below.
I'm Justin Davis, and this is Joe Camp's RC.
Alright, welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Justin Davis. Today we got the Helifar H106 boat. It's a little sport speedboat. It's around the $45 mark right now with the RC18 off discount on GearBest, so pretty cool. We have one battery in here, and you get an extra one with it, which is super cool. You get two 600 milliamp Li-ion batteries, and they charge up in about an hour's time with the USB cable that's included with it, just plugged into the wall of your computer. Take this little guy out and get it going. Now, one thing you guys need to know about this boat is when you set it in the water, you'll hear a beep, and that lets you know that the boat is ready. Before that, the prop won't arm. So when you're out of the water, if you have kids, if you bought this for your son or daughter, which is really neat, this boat will not fire up and cut their fingers, which is great. So it will only arm when it's in the water and it senses water inside the cooling or the intakes inside the boat. So that is really neat. It has a little sensor on the bottom that lets it know it's actually in the water. Now, drivability of this boat, the turning radius actually seems to be pretty good. I'm doing little donuts with it, little figure eights, and the speed of it, I feel like it could be a little bit faster, but it's not going to go much faster being so small, which is kind of neat because this is definitely something that is very portable, small, and just pretty much easy to use just about anywhere. It's slow enough that you could use it in a swimming pool, and fast enough that it's still fun in an open lake like this one. And you really can rip and do some donuts with it. It was kind of even hard for our camera to keep up with it. We have a 4K camera out today filming, and I've got my friend Diego out today. He also took a spin with the boat after he was done filming. He had a lot of fun with this one. And look at that little rooster tail this thing does. That is pretty cool. And it also has reverse, so if you come in and you get stuck in a certain area, you can pull back on the throttle and it'll actually go into reverse. The reverse works okay. I would say honestly it doesn't work super great, but it will get you out of the weeds in a bind. And you got to watch out for the algae getting, you know, sucked up into the propeller on the back of it. So you might have to clear out the algae every once in a while. Just try to stay out in the middle of the open lake. But look at this little ripper. It was almost too much fun to put down. This is a great kind of a break from RC cars and quadcopters and drones that we usually fly on the channel. This was a really nice afternoon to run this boat too, because there was almost no wind. And if you have a no wind day, that's a nice day to run this boat because you really get the most speed out of the water when it's glassed off like this. Look at the little rooster tail this thing's throwing out. And then again, it's so fast we can just barely keep up with it with the camera. Not a bad little ripper for $45. And it might be time to let my buddy drive this boat. I think he's gonna like it. Diego's pretty into speedboats and sport boats as well. Anything RC is pretty much what we're into, as you've seen on this channel. Very nice driving boat. And the perfect day to go out and run this boat. If somebody's fishing, you probably wouldn't want to run this right next to where they're fishing. We had another couple on the other side, on the other lake, walked up and started fishing right before we were going to run this boat. And that's usually what happens when you're going to run an RC boat. Somebody goes fishing. But we're courteous, and we moved over to the other side where no one was fishing. And this little guy is so fast, we're just having a hard time. Look at the water swirling right there. But I think this is a cool little boat if you're looking for something for fun, if you want to have something for someone younger. This would have been awesome if I was younger. I would have loved to have this. And it's still cool. It does come with a stand as well, so you can put this up on your shelf and display it wherever your RC den is in your house. Get it up high and dry. And there wasn't a lot of water inside the boat's hull in the chamber, and I did flip it over a couple times. We even tossed it way up in the air to see if it would flip back over after a big toss. And I think the coolest thing about this is when the battery is done, when the battery needs to be switched out, it lets you know by beeping on the transmitter. It's a pretty loud beep. What I thought was kind of strange about this one was the fact that I would like to see maybe like a 3-channel transmitter, something like the RC cars have, for steering and throttle and reverse. But this one actually came with sort of an airplane style transmitter set up in mode 2, so you have 2 sticks instead of a wheel.
Or on a leg.
Normally I drive my RC boats on the RC car type of transmitters with the wheel. Just feels more natural, but I've flown planes and helis enough that this works out quite fine. Throttle's on your left, and your left and right steering's on the right. And also that's how you're going to right the boat if it does capsize. But running this boat today, the entire time that we ran it, which is good news for you, it never flipped over. Even in the tightest turns, it never flipped. So the chances that you have to use the capsizing right mode is very minimal.
Just about done.
Nice little turning radius.
Give you a warning.
It's a fast little boat. Right up on shore.
This thing's legit.
So now it's beeping and it's time to switch out the battery. We got close to about 9 minutes on this RC boat before the battery started beeping. Now I'm just gonna take the top off and put a new battery in it, shake out whatever was in there, and I didn't feel any water in the inside of mine, which is actually pretty good. I've had other more expensive RC boats on the channel that you guys have seen with fiberglass hulls that had quite a bit of water inside them afterwards. The Feelin boat that I ran last year, that was a really popular boat. That one's super fast, but this one's about half the size of the Feelin boat that I ran. And we're off again. And this is a lot of fun, this little boat. Coming back around. Really just enjoying running this boat. I think if you're going to run this in salt water, you might want to rinse it off with some fresh water as soon as you get it out of the water. Generally I run my boats in fresh water. If you're new to RC boats, that is, and you live near the beach, it might be a good idea to find a little open pond where there's not a lot of algae and run your RC boat. Some people do run them in salt water, but if that's your only option, then just make sure you rinse it off good. Salt water does corrode a lot of the parts almost instantly, so also be sure to look out for the lubrication on the shaft and make sure that your shaft is not burning up on the inside of the boat, because there's a lot of torque on that drive shaft, and I've had smoke coming out of some of my other bigger RC boats. Let's just give it the toss test. Landed upside down in the pond, and I was able to right it within about 30 seconds. So sticks out to the sides, and another toss, big toss. Now this time I couldn't get it to right. So what happened was the battery came out of where it's seated and was sitting on the bottom of the boat, which is now the top. It was sitting there, and I had to actually use the prop to kind of airboat my way back using the rudder to bring myself back. Kind of funny, but it did work, and we were able to get the boat back over to shore without wading out into this super cold water already. It was about 60 degrees today, but I think the water feels like 50. It's really cold. But a cool little boat. If you guys are looking for a boat that's under $50, this one is not a bad boat at all. Kind of strange that Helifar did a boat, but I'm excited all the same that it's a good price and it's a lot of fun to run.